It's the toughest long-distance race on German tarmac, the ultimate endurance test for man and machine, the 24-hour race in Oschersleben. Alongside the major works teams in the World Long Distance Championship, there are also many small private teams entered who want to endure the torture. At the starting line for the first time, the Fighters Racing Team with a Yamaha R1 2005 model. The drivers, Dirk Schneiders, René Knöpfler and Peter Hecke, have a clearly defined goal, to at least get through. In total, 48 teams are starting the Oschersleben race. To survive, the fighters' drivers have clear team orders. We drivers agreed among ourselves that we'll keep out of the fights, completely out. Our goal is just to drive without fights. If necessary, we'll hang back. They only lead to falls and unnecessary problems. We don't have the time for that. We just want to drive. In a 24-hour race, success comes down to the pit crew most of all. Head of the 20-man team is Daniel Rau. 28-year-old master bike mechanic relies on the discipline of each and every one of them. It's precisely structured here. Everyone knows who's doing the front wheel, who's doing the rear wheel, who's looking after the brakes, and I have the role of making sure that everything works and keeping an eye front and back that the guys are doing everything right. In qualifying, they managed 13th place, a top result. Right at the front are favorites such as the Suzuki Long Distance World Champion Team, the Yamaha Austria Team, and Kawasaki Bollinger. Shortly before 3, the tension is rising. I'm as nervous as always, but we'll manage it, I think. But René doesn't start so well. His first gear has snagged somehow, but the race has another 24 hours to run and anything can happen. At the moment, everyone's coming down from the adrenaline high a bit, and so we're going to have some gummy bears, and then we'll see. We get everything ready and lay out the bodywork parts so that in an emergency all we have to do is change them. In just 3 months, the team has built the yellow 24-hour racer out of a standard R1. Many parts were specially adapted to the demands of a long-distance race. The footrest is produced by Gillis and can be mounted in a great many different positions. For the long-distance race, we put it in the lowest position because that's the most relaxed for the drivers, and it has to work for 24 hours. A small particularity about this footrest is also that we have direct connections to change gears, and also that we change gears the opposite way around to a road bike. That means that the first gear is at the top for us and all the other gears are underneath. The R1's engine is still original. Tuning work would be an unnecessary risk. Nonetheless, a couple of additional horsepower can still be coaxed out. The exhaust has been tweaked by the company Micron. It's a full Micron system with Hydrotech manifolds. From top to bottom, it's made of stainless steel because it's got to last long distances. Titanium also works, but stainless steel will definitely last and is only a tiny bit heavier. And it's been aligned by them on their test bed. It's been thoroughly performance optimization because it's a racing exhaust. In the first hour, René has really pulled out the stops. When he comes in for the first pit stop, he's in 16th place. The tires are still good. The crew just has to refuel. After 36 seconds, it's back into the race. René is slated for the first 45 laps.
It's okay.
It's okay. I thought being up first would be worse than it was. René's helmet is soaked with sweat and isn't sitting quite right, so it's off to the helmet service stand. A specialist ensures the perfect fit and vision. We readjust the visor and at the same time we check whether the inside has been affected, whether we need to alter the helmet to fit the driver's head better or whether he can manage with it. In this case, the driver said he would like to have it a little bit further back so that he doesn't see the rim as much when his head is really low down. And we can do that with a blade right now. For the next few hours, everything runs smoothly. The first tire and brake pad changes are successful. But here, the differences between them and the top championship teams become clear. Thanks to quick-release fastenings and custom products, the Suzuki crew takes just 9 seconds. The fighters team takes 10 times as long. When Dirk Schneiders dismounts as night falls, he's extremely unhappy. The tires are not establishing any grip. They check the problem by hand. After I came in, the tires had a temperature of around 50 degrees, and that isn't good. The temperature range where the tires work is between 60 and 80 degrees, and when you go below that, they don't have proper grip, and that's the problem we have now. So it's off to the Pirelli experts. They don't just fit fresh slicks, but also help with problems. In the end, incorrect tire pressure turns out to be the source of the problem. With fresh tires, they continue into the darkness. In the night, the safety car has to come out several times to gather up the pack and guide them past accident spots. Driving errors happen quickly now and are uncompromisingly punished. The fighter's crew tries to stock up on power, regardless of how and where. The calm before the storm. Then, in the early hours of the morning, disaster strikes. René crashes. The R1 won't drive any further. What happened? First of all, I slid in a corner and carried on driving as normal. Then I caught up with a group and was probably going too fast. The rear wheel just went out from under me. It happens. At first, it doesn't look good at all. All of the bodywork and cockpit are broken. The handlebars are bent, the tank dented, and the exhaust crooked. But the fighter's crew doesn't give up. Quickly, but with concentration, the broken parts are changed. The back of the frame also has to be replaced. After 41 minutes, the fighter's R1 is once again ready to drive, visibly damaged, but eager to finish the race. After 806 laps, 25 pit stops and thousands of kilometers, final driver Peter Hecker crosses the line in 23rd place. It's a huge success for the fighters' racing team. The outstanding winner is the Suzuki Works team with 891 laps. And to finish, some burning rubber for everyone as a thank you to the crew for their hard work at the 24-hour race adventure.